Today, we're introducing a huge new update to Glide's data editor. We've improved the UI, increased performance, added new functionality, but most importantly, we've added well over 60 new computed columns that extend Glide's functionality well beyond that you were used to. And there's more columns coming all the time. Now, there's a lot to go through, too much for one video, so let's get just a taste of it. So in the data editor, you can see that we've already got a new vibe going on here. We've got some new colors, icons going on, new look and feel. Let's just have a look at this normal data column over here, which has really large numbers in it. Now, if you were going to display this in an app, it would be slightly too unwieldy, too much information really. So we want to pull this down to something more human readable and high level. So we're going to add a new computed column. I'm going to call this short numbers. And I'm going to select the column dropdown, and we're going to scroll right down to the bottom. You'll see we've now got a huge new collection of different categories of computed columns. So if I go to the number category and click on abbreviate number, we're going to get the abbreviate number column, which allows us to shorten these large numbers. So I'm going to put in the big number column, and then we get this really nicely formatted number that's a lot more readable and high level. And if we want a bit more detail, we can specify the number of decimal places. So that's the abbreviate number column, and there are many, many other columns for working with numbers, images, text, arrays, and you can browse all of these over at glideapps.com/plugins. Now, they may or may not be called plugins in future. You can kind of just think of them as computed columns, but for now, this is the place to go. And you can actually go onto each plugin and try it out in your browser and see the effect on the data. One of them that's particularly powerful is working with data and APIs and the fetch JSON computed column. So back in the data editor, you can see that we've got this fetch JSON column. And if I open it here, we're actually pulling data in and then querying that data with a simple JQ query to pull in live weather data based on the city that we put in here. So if we put in Paris, we're going to get, Paris has also the same weather. Let's put Madrid, and we're going to get the live weather data for Madrid right now. And all that's happening here is that we're taking this value, which is just a simple text value that our users could enter. We're putting it in a template column. We're just replacing this part of the API URL with the name of the city. And then we're feeding that value to the API. And we're feeding that value to the fetch JSON plugin and then querying it with a simple JQ query. So this is just one example of working with APIs. Obviously, the world of APIs is limitless. You can do many, many different things and fetch different data. Like, for example, jokes. Here we're fetching different jokes from a jokes API. And if I put in a different number, we get a different joke, perhaps a less sensible example. So imagine you're working with a CRM and you're getting in email data all the time. Now, some of those emails will be real, hopefully most of them, but some of them won't be for whatever reason. And you want to validate whether something's real and then do something later. So for example, you could filter out all of the fake emails or the wrong emails or the mistyped emails, or you might have actions based on these. So we have a simple column that just allows you to validate whether something is an email or not. And this isn't actually easy to do with code. You have to do a fair few steps, but now you just have a very simple text is email column in Glide where you can validate. Another column which is super powerful, but maybe a little bit advanced if you don't know about regular expressions, is the extract matching text column. You can see here that what we're doing is we're taking the email that has come in here and we're just extracting the top level domain from that email. Now you could then tie that to a button in your app or your page and just click on it and go straight to that new customer or potential client's website and check it out. So that's really useful. Potentially a more contrived example is then turning that URL into a QR code so that you could scan it with your phone. There are many other use cases for this than this simple example, but this is just to show you that we're getting data from this column here. It's validating whether it's an email, we're extracting the top level domain, and then we're showing a QR code, which if you scan this with your phone's camera right now as you're watching this video, will take you to apple.com. So I know there are going to be many more use cases for QR codes. Really excited to see what you guys do with this. Hyperformula is a really powerful new computed column if you're already very experienced with Excel functions, because it allows you to use any Excel function and chain them together with other functions and put it natively in Glide. Now, this example is kind of silly. We're turning stock levels into Roman numerals using the Roman function. Not something that you'd necessarily do, but it's just to illustrate the fact that Glide obviously doesn't have this ability yet. I don't know when we're going to build it, probably not for a while. And you can just do this now in Glide if there's an Excel function for it. As I said, there are lots of different computed columns for working with images and generating emoji. And this one here is generating hero icons based on text. And you have also different settings for working with colors, size, style. And these are all coming from heroicons.com. Really nice resource. This computed column is taking the YouTube link on the left and extracting the YouTube thumbnail on the right so that you can use that image anywhere in your app. And finally, my favorite new computed column is the barcode computed column. Previously, if you were working with inventory management in Glide, you'd have to use an external service to generate your barcodes and then bring them back in. But now we have a native barcode column, which just reads from another column. Currently, it's reading from the SKU here, and it generates a barcode, which is exactly that value. And we can put whatever we want in here, and it will generate a new barcode instantly. So incredibly useful for those of you who are working with inventory. A few new UI enhancements. On the left, you can see that we have row numbers here, and we can shift click to select. And this lays the foundation for a lot of enhancements to the editing experience in Glide. We can add new rows down here easily. And we're working currently on a better multi-select copy-paste experience. So that's a look at just some of the new computed columns and the new functionality in the Glide data editor. Head over to glideapps.com/plugins to check out more.